episode 122. A very cloudy day here in, effectively, Seattle, Washington. And no, this is not a joke. For the first time in the Jones series, we are racing at Blue Moon Bay's Speedway layout, which some will just often refer to as just Pocono, but it's in Seattle, not Pennsylvania, so this is a separate entity. This is Blue Moon Bay. The lineup basically turned into an impromptu Stars and Stripes competition. Literally the entire field is American cars. We did have two exits or pull out of the race at the last minute, as there was a bit of an incident between Taro Kitano and Iris Aspinall in practice. Iris's Cosworth bottomed out on the way through turn 2, drove straight up into the outside wall, and collected Taro's Mustang Boss in it. Both cars are unable to start the race. NFR almost got Iris's car fixed up, but it wouldn't have mattered because they couldn't figure out what was wrong with the setup, so they tell me. So we'll just head into the race with an 18-car grid and see what happens from there. We are away. We have to use the rolling start here as it is an oval. And Rino Shizora is the pole sitter. We can't have double file starts, rolling starts, but that didn't last long. Isabel Aspinall gets the whole shot and immediately takes the lead, only to immediately lose it to Keith Kilgore in the third-gen vet. Our POV driver has no livery. Alright, good job, GT7. I love this game sometimes. Alright, attempt number 2, this time with all the liveries in place. I guess this gives us a chance to see how our POV driver, who debuted last week, gets through the opening bit of traffic here. Basically a mixture of 2015 Mustangs and Camaros, and 5 places made up in one corner. It only costs a little bit of paint. Dos.0, or M, this is apparently her nickname, in the Castro Mustang with the rather cursed-looking number. Apparently a very big Roush fan. And I know Logan was kind of playing out a storyline with her favorite old-timey NASCAR driver getting a win stolen from him here. That would be Mark Martin, and Joey Logano being the thief. So, in a way, she's probably showing up to try and avenge that. And she's following her teammate, and I believe also father, through the mid part of the field. Her father, Storm Rose, in that Charger there. And both are kind of trying to essentially race Barbara to the front of the field, that third-gen vet. A big change in management over there on the Corvette side of things. We'll get to that in a minute. Around the outside goes Dos.0. She's trying to follow her father. He's not making an easy path to follow, though, to say the least. That Charger is ridiculous in the straight line. It's going to embarrass Isabel on the front stretch. Although under braking, looks like Dos is going to do the same thing. A lot of cars on the very edge of adhesion as they head into turn 1. That's heavy braking for what an oval at least is. A bit of chaos behind the Demon Sports pair as Bradley Hunter and Barbara Page have a drag race to end them all, and Samuel Jansen in the Hellcat safety car almost took advantage. That was a little bit of saving to be done. Those Hellcats don't listen too well when it comes to being told what to do. M had a run, but decides to tuck back in behind Storm and ride out the Storm. Kill me. Barbara still following them behind. But as you can see there, slight redesign on the third generation Corvette. as the team Nitro Knights has, I was going to say dissolved. It is not dissolved. It has been absorbed into Urban Estate Racing Team, and UERT has now become a 9-driver GM-supported factory outfit. Or factory-supported outfit, I should say. Right along the lines of, like, Pratt & Miller at that point. But yeah, a couple new sponsors. Obviously, Urban Estate themselves apparently picked up a new water company sponsor, Aquatica. You can see that on the quarter panel. So, Urban Estate Racing Team went from a decently strong 5-car team. They had to drop Darius Farrell and Travis Wild to make accommodations for the Nitro Knights coming in. But now it is a 9-driver team, and we do have, I believe, 2 of them here. Or no, more than 2, because, yeah. So it's currently 1, 2, 5 for the team at the moment. De La Cruz down in 11th, also representing that team. And I believe, oh no, JJ West is running in last. He is also on their team. So they're making up a decent portion of this running order, and Jean Casillas is currently the race leader. Barber trying to make it 3 third-generation Corvettes in the top 3. Already all of them in the top 5, and she just has to get around Storm Rose to make that a reality. M is the only one seemingly with the confidence to run that high lane. The Mustang obviously set up to do that, and not many other drivers seem to have done so. Barber's gonna go down the inside of Rose, see if she can do exactly what I just said. It's very tight. She's almost going to get 2 for 1. She is going to get 2 for 1. Keith Kilgore absolutely just got mugged in turn 1. Loses 3 places for his troubles. Barbara, Storm, and M all following him through. Keith's going to try and get 1 back, and he will. The Mustang, obviously more of a handling setup here. Probably running higher downforce or something. But not getting the same runs off the corners, and not getting anywhere near the amount of top-end speed. Barbara in second, and she might be going for it all here. She's too wide with her teammate, former team owner. Now it is Tyler running the whole thing down there at the Nitro Knight, or Nitro Knights. We just established that's gone at Urban Estate. And indeed, new leader, 55-car Barbara Page. Storm will follow her through into second position, and M will try to follow him through into the top 3. And looks like, yeah, she will just barely get ahead of Jean. He will tuck in behind the Mustang driver. A lot of laps here, as a lap around this track is just over 45 seconds. So a 12-lap, 24-mile event here around Blue Moon Bay's Speedway layout. And we have completed half of those. Lap 7 now upon us. And this is starting to look a little bit like a bit of a slipstream fest. I think all 3 of these cars are pretty evenly matched here at the front, and it's going to be a game of inches at the end of the race to see who wins between the 3. Barbara, Storm, or Dos Point0. I don't think Mark Martin is getting avenged on this evening. I don't actually know when this race was run. I wasn't here. Wait, no, I was here. You'd think I'd remember this. Yeah, I was in the race. It was just such an autopilot drive for me. I'm just sitting here right in the middle. Literally smack in the middle. You can't gain on Jansen, but not really, or I could sometimes when he loses control, but then he just drags ahead of me back. What? Drags ahead of... Gets back ahead. I can't talk. Wow. Until I haven't commentated in a bit. Yeah, and also Oxbridge was just faster than me. The GTO, believe it or not, is a little better on corners than straights. It doesn't seem like it makes any sense. I know, it never made any sense to me either, but that's just the way that I ended up getting it set up. It just kind of worked that way. Both the 5-speed transmissions pushing 190 here at Blue Moon. And again, there's a lot of 5-speed transmissions in this race, a lot of old cars. Other than M's Mustang, I mean, like, 69, 70, 69, 69, 63, I think this is a 66 Nova, 69, And then we have a Hellcat, the 69 GTO, 69 GTO, and 66 GT, which I thought would be doing better, but I don't think she got that setup dialed in properly. Not really. And all of the newer cars, especially these Camaros, are just sitting right at the back. The bottom 3 cars, all Camaros. All 2015 Camaros specifically. Barbara takes into lap 10, still just doing exactly what she has to do to not be overtaken by Storm Rose. M's trying, she's not running the exact same lines as the cars ahead. She's trying to get a little inventive, trying to find something that works for her that might not work for Rose and Paige up ahead, but I don't think she's made any discoveries up to this point. Also funny that the top 3 is Germany, Norway, and then 4th through 10th is all American until you get to Isabel in 11th. America, Japan, Russia, America, America, Japan, America. So, yeah, funny that American drivers often lean towards American cars. It's almost like that's where the most readily accessible is America. And yet, that doesn't seem to stop our top 3 drivers. Admittedly, I don't actually know if any of those really count, because Mondstadt's not technically in Germany. It's just the closest thing to it. It'd be like being from Luxembourg and running under the German flag. Likewise, the 2 Norwegian drivers in the race, Storm Rose and 2.0, are not actually Norwegian at all. It's just that there's a town in Norway called Hell, and they're from Hell, so they just went with the Norwegian nationality. They're from Hell, but there's not really a flag for that, so, you know, they just went with Norway. Final lap here from Blue Moon Bay. Storm Rose is the closest he's been in a minute, but he misses a shift on the exit of turn 1. And that might have just given Barbara Page the victory in her hands. 2 more corners to go for the new and improved Urban Estate Racing Team's first victory in the Challenge Series, literally just a couple of days after the merger was announced. And, you know, by extension also carried out, but Rose really pushing it into the final corner. Gonna get right up to her bumper, but it's not enough, I don't think. Barbara Page victorious at Blue Moon Bay. It is a 2-3 result for Demon Sports' 2 drivers, and it's a 1-4-5 result for Urban Estate Racing Team, with 3 third-generation Corvettes in the top 5. 12 laps, but ultimately the finishing order for the top 5 was pretty much settled as early as lap 5. So, such is oval racing, especially when it's not a longer race with tire strategy and such involved. 24 miles of racing as opposed to most oval races running upwards of 10 times that. Even if you're in, say, the NASCAR National Series, you're doing 250, 300 miles in some of the bigger races. So, but yeah, that will conclude matters from Blue Moon Bay, but we'll stay in North America for the next event. Chilly Tuesday morning here from the Lake Louise Canadian Rockies Resort Circuit. Yeah, there's the reason that we just call it Lake Louise. That's the full name. Nobody uses that. That's like, that's like the old it's like the old joke of, like, you know, you're in trouble if your parents call you by your first and middle name. Lake Louise Lake Louise Canadian Rockies Resort Circuit. You are in such big trouble, mister. Anyway, obviously off-road spec racing. You can't really drive anything else here, so let's just get in to this battle in the Arctic snow. And we are away from the snow arena, essentially. And interesting pole sitter in that we are racing at a snow track, and the pole sitter routinely races in deserts. I guess when you think about it, this is technically a desert based on average precipitation, but that's actually not even true. I don't even know where the snow would have come from then, dum-dum. Anyway, 8 laps. It is the short track layout, so the shortest of the layouts. Still looking at about an 8 to 9 minute event here. And our POV driver is obeying the traffic laws, it would seem. Thrasher making what would be his first start here at Lake Louise, since he had vanished from the public eye before this track was ever included on the Challenge Series calendar. And doesn't seem to be enjoying it. Does he have the right tires on? Telemetry indicates so. Alzaman is off to a pretty solid lead in the early going. About 2 seconds to his name. It's a little bit of a haymaker contest back here. Yo and frickin' Katamatsu fighting it out. Harada nearly losing control and tagging his fellow Subaru enjoyer in the form of my father. And Futaba is going to take advantage and overtake, well, Harada. Anyway, not really quite my dad. I believe this is also Yoshiko's first start here in the snow. She's running 3rd, so not terrible for her first time out. She's got her teammate filling her mirrors. I've been hearing some stirring down there with specifically the Aqua camp of, you know, Yo, Chika, Ruby, and Yoshiko. And I guess Mari, she doesn't race, but she is like the kind of manager of the team under DPT. So alongside the likes of Rantanen and Harada back here in the mid-pack. I think Thrasher's gonna get lapped soon. I'm almost certain he's going to get lapped soon, as a matter of fact. Excuse me, yeah, my commentary is not really warmed up yet. It's been a while since I've done it. My dad making another move. I don't know how Harada got back ahead of him. Must have missed that happening. Yeah, Thrasher's getting lapped on lap 3 of the event. Saeed will go through. Fenny will... this is not going to end well. I mean, the straightaway is wide, but it ain't that wide, you know? Yeah, Fenny's going to get caught behind him. Nearly spin him out, actually. And Thrasher's just not able to, or not willing to accelerate. 80 miles, oh, he's losing control on the hill, trying to push to get out of people's way. That's a crash! Life Bestla sent spinning. I mean, this is all that she sees, like, there's no way you can react to that. Like, absolutely gets clobbered by Thrasher, who, well, I guess rather she absolutely clobbers Thrasher because she couldn't even see him. Thrasher, I think, honks an apology, but, like, I don't know, like, just pull into the pits if you're not comfortable. I know he said after the fact that he felt like he had to run because none of the other admins were here. The only other admins, I believe, that could have been here are myself and Tyler. Nitori and Jinte do not have dirt class cars, but I'm thinking after this event, we're going to either want to get more admins, or we're going to want to get those other 2 admins into some dirt machinery. That's not even the last one. Logan reacts last second. Thrasher moves over to try and take the first corner and get some decent car control from the Rally Chicken there. Won't lie. So after that absolute chaos, Fenny is forcibly removed from second place, and it's Yoshiko taking her spot, but my dad, who was running upper mid-pack a minute ago, seems to have found some pace in the Isle of Man Subaru. I don't know how he got his hands on that. I think he won some kind of event, like a rally of some kind? I don't know. I don't remember what he did to win this thing. It seems like kind of an exclusive thing to own, and he has no real affiliation with Subaru. His other cars are a Pontiac and a Lexus that's made to look like an old Pontiac. And so I'm just not exactly sure, but either way, he's going to pull ahead of the Celica driver, or at least try to, with about dead even on the brakes, but my dad will have the better line. It is, however, 3.45 for DPT, now 3.46. I think Riho just made the pass on Yo, indeed. One other small thing is Noir has brought a redesigned Impreza to the race today. She, and personally I myself, both felt that the original livery on it didn't really make much sense for her. It didn't have any sort of special connection to her, like, aesthetic at all. It was dark blue. But, like, she had two other cars like that at the time, and it just seemed like a filler car to me. So now it's, well, matte black and dark blue, but with that little sort of energy, like, crescent beam theme going on. He says it was something to do with Virtualand. That sounds like some made-up horseshit to me, but then again, knowing what I know about Noir and the other CPUs, Neptune, Bert, Wand, etc., made-up horseshit is kind of just how they roll, and you just kind of have to take their word for it more often than not. Thrash is about to get lapped a third time. He's still on lap 4. He's not even crested the halfway mark of this event. And here come the leaders once more. The two trucks and a Subaru are the first to arrive. Saeed needs to not lose time here. He won't lose time here, but neither will his closest competitor. My dad going for the lead at the final turn of lap 6. We'll see if Thrasher creates any more drama here. It looks like relatively okay. Mainly because we're in corners, where we're going slower anyway and have more time to react, but no longer the case. The sky is on fire at the moment, in the late evenings here at Lake Louise. Yeah, I believe he's just terrified. He's driving very, very cautiously and nearly collecting cars on the straightaway once more. The replay cameras did a terrible job at showing us this. Yeah, you can see Ryza has nowhere to go. She drives into the back of him. That sends him out of control and collects Rantanen as well. Rantanen does very well not to make worse contact or avoid disaster there, showing his rally prowess just to keep that car under him. He's going to turn that into an overtake, isn't he? He's going to pass Fenny off that, isn't he? He's going to try. He's not going to succeed. He's instead going to get overtaken by Hanamura, I think, in the Celica, but the attempt was made. Yoshiko's kind of fallen off a little. She's behind even her teammate now, and she's trying to keep fucking Katamatsu behind her. Again, admittedly, this is her first time racing here, and we've had some outside circumstances, we'll say. I'm not sure I really understand said outside circumstances entirely, but for the drivers racing at high speeds, we are about to get on to the final lap. My dad endeavoring to hold the two trucks behind him, Futaba and Alzaman, two Toyota Tundras no less behind him. Into the final turn goes the super rally car, basically. Like, this thing isn't a rally car, but it kind of seems like it could be one. If you tried hard enough, if you closed your eyes, does it almost feel like a rally car anyway? Thought I was going to make the reference there, didn't you? Right in mid-pack for the debuting livery. It is the same car, just a new paint job on Noir's vehicle. And as I understand, this is not the only vehicle in her collection to get this treatment going into this week. She had a general redesign of her whole garage going into this week. And heading out of the last turn, very tentatively, my father will jump into the finish line, taking victory from Lake Louise. Of course, another Minnesotan victory here from the snow track. It's in our blood, just about. I've won here, my dad's won here. Now it's time for my mom to get herself in a dirt car and do the same thing. Double Tundra podium. 5, 6, yeah, well, 4, 5, 6, 12 for DPT. Now, the ever-familiar site of the Tokyo Expressway plays host to Wednesday's Challenge Series event, the 640 class, from not the layout you're probably thinking. This is the south clockwise layout. So we do not enter the dockyard, therefore it is not the Gemini layout. Which, we don't use very often because we just usually go to the Gemini layout or East Loop. The Central Loop can go stuff itself, honest to God, and a lot of drivers here tend to agree. It's, you know, it's one thing to race on it at night. Street racing, I'm sure a lot of people here do that. But for organized circuits, this track just has fewer blind corners, which is really awkward for racing. So, or it can be, especially for those who aren't aware. But nonetheless, into the fray. And Tokyo South is away. No, yes, South. Yep, I got it. We are on board with Kazuya Takahata in the R32 with all of the paint splashes, as he uses his four-wheel drive advantage to pick off a few cars off the green flag and tries to slice and dice his way through some, well, probably relatively standard fare expressway traffic, let's face it. We have a couple of things to note here, the first of which is currently leading the race. Thrasher's effectively return gift, a GT4 spec Mustang, which he has put into the 640 class. The Mach 1 that used to run in this category for him has since bit the dust. Barbara Page, another slight redesign on her other third gen, the Corvette convertible model. Holy crap, he's already up to 4th. Alright, so Kazuya has the hot hand today. Almost taking this kink flat out. What in God's name are you doing? But yeah, slight redesign on Barbara's convertible Stingray. Wait, no. Convertible 3rd gen Corvette. It's not a Stingray. That's the difference between this and the convertible. Or it and the... I am dumb. Anyway, you can see it's a darker blue now, and the blue stretches all the way to the front, rather than just stopping at the hood. And speaking of stopping, one or two debuting drivers in this race also to note. One is the R31 Skyline of Fiona Takahata, sister of Kazuya, and already making a bit of contact with Rise of Stout in the Z8. And a little further back, I believe may have been involved in some kind of incident on lap 1, or not, just not having a good time. Gunnar Krasinski in a Volvo V40, just a basic grocery mule, running the track here in the 640 class. I guess it's not too out of place. It is right behind his Civic and right in front of an Integra, which are effectively just sporty shopping carts. Here we see Madison Palmer in the 69 Camaro. This is her first start under Urban Estate. She didn't make too many under Nitro nights after her return, and she's already being thrown under new management. I don't really think the complexion of the team really changes that much after being absorbed per se, but how am I to know? And right now it looks like it's going to be the Kazuya and Thrasher show. These two already pretty far away from most of the other competitors. Palmer's trying to stay in range, but I just don't think that's going to work. And I reckon this is a classic power versus handling battle. Or really top speed versus handling. The Mustang Group 4 still has power, but it's being weighed down by all of the downforce, but that downforce is also going to make it an absolute weapon in the first half of the track. These S's are built for this car. but then the back straightaway isn't. So, and again, Thrasher is still trying to recover, I think, from whatever harrowing experience he had at Lake Louise earlier yesterday morning. And just gets dusted by Kazuya in the S's, where the Mustang Group 4 should have been at its best. And I don't know if it has the straight line power to keep up on this backstretch. It might be good through that kink, it probably doesn't even have to brake for that left to right little mini S kink chicane hybrid. But I don't know if that matters if it can't get close to it. It can't get close to the skyline, I should specify. Yeah, nearly flat, taking it about the same speed. Except one is a race car and the other is just a regular R32 with a paint job of all time. Raiza making her way to 4th, passing fellow Germany representative Barbara, except neither of them are actually from Germany. Again, just the closest analog for the pair of them. Akira, and so-called Archangel, fending off an NYC cab, go figure, only in the Challenge Series. Keone not having the best showing on her debut, running 9th after starting on the front row. Nobody with damage in this race except for Connor Nazang in the UK9. Not sure, probably was just lap 1 madness, but he's not even that far away relative to how much time you usually lose having to make a pit stop for car damage. Thrasher is sort of reeling Takahata back in. It's not super quickly, but at least he's not losing him, so he's still in with a shot if he, plays his cards well. If. It is a very distant 3rd for Madison Palmer, and Raiza Stout is soon approaching in that Z8. That's probably about 2.5 seconds away, and I reckon the Z8 probably has better straight line performance due to being lighter and being able to get more traction off corner exits. But time is running out. Only about 2 minutes left of driving here due from Tokyo South. It's going to be one of the shorter races in spite of the lap count. Just barely clocking in at 8 minutes. At least by estimation. Yeah, Thrasher's still there. You just can't close the gap with the rest of the race. Just hanging right, just more than a second behind the R32 driver. And unlike most, this one is significantly less prone to understeering to a guardrail. Takahata tends to know what he's doing. Tends to. I'm sure his sister is wishing that she could say the same, running here in 10th now, having been overtaken by McKinley in the Firebird. Apparently, Raiza very quickly closed that 2.5 second distance in the matter of half a lap. And late braking into the start of the S is kind of barging her way through on Palmer. No damage dealt, but still some very aggressive elbows out driving. I know her personality is a bit of a wild card, but I didn't know that was really what that entailed. But yeah, as I was saying before I noticed the leaderboard move, running right smack in the middle of the pack is Keone. That's not terrible. It's something to build off of, but it just doesn't look amazing when your brother took the lead, before the halfway mark of the race and never looked back and has, been leading the whole thing and is now about a sector away from claiming victory. And they're both from around here. They both know this expressway. Kazuya missed that turn. A little bit of understeer, not enough to put him in a guardrail, but enough to give Thrasher a fragment of hope before taking the chicane of a lifetime to put it out of reach. Final turn for Kazuya Takahata. He is going to take a victory in the daylight here from Tokyo Expressway. Across the line. Thrasher's second on his new car's debut. And Raiza is going to climb from, I believe, 16th on the grid, if memory serves. to grab a podium in that Z8. Also, Dallas Corbin still 5th. I don't know how he did that. Keone falls to 11th, being overtaken by Raven Katsuragi. And I guess it could be worse. The other rookie driver today, Gunnar Krasinski, managing only 16th, and a distant one at that. But, yeah. History remembers the winners, and Kazuya Takahata is precisely that. Thursday evening brings us to another track that is seldom utilized in the Challenger. That seems to be a running theme with this week, just heading to tracks we don't normally go to. We started with the first ever race at Blue Moon Bay's Speedway layout. Then we used the South Clockwise layout at Tokyo the night before. Afternoon, really. And now we're here from the Alsace, I think it's Alsace, test track. There are horses here? Oh, there's a light back there. Huh. Never noticed that. We are green from the Alsace test track. And a very good start, even for a rear-wheel drive car, for Barbara Page, the POV driver in her first-generation Corvette. Already won a race today. Already won one race this week. Looking to try and claim a second victory here. And at the front is a cacophony of hatchbacks led by Ruby Kurosawa, who's just obtained a 600 class car, literally off of a loan from a half-teammate in the form of Umi Sonoda, giving the keys to her 600 spec Mini Cooper to the DPT driver. That said, the DPT logo is actually not on the car, so interesting. Barbara's teammate, Casillas, returns for another race this week as well in his Firebird. We're already looking at one new car in this race, other than Ruby's Mini. Shoji Hakure gets back to his roots with an EG6 Civic. I just spit everywhere saying that. That was good. Barbara's already looking at sneaking her way into the top 5. Getting plenty of room from Noir. And that always just will come back to, you know, the sort of like race the way you want to be raced. I don't think Barbara has ever hit anyone, and so everybody on the track makes sure they do everything they can not to hit Barbara. That's what happens when you actually treat people with respect. Something that I'm sure there's a certain Scorchers driver that could maybe learn a thing or 6 from. He hasn't shown up to anything this week. I'm sure he's probably ran away with his tail between his legs. Slight redesign on Thrasher's good old F-150. Not much to report on, not in comparison to a second new vehicle. Gunnar Krasinski brings 2 Volvos to the pitch, and this 240 Estate car is one of them, while the other one. In the meantime, the other new car is also a 240 Estate that Umi has claimed. Apparently, she really likes station wagons, so she tells me, but she's never been able to get one that actually mattered until today, basically. And she handed her Mini off to Ruby. Why are you pitting Yukiko? Oh, Yukiko Tsukuchi is pitting, and we're about to find out why. I mean, damn, Tyler's car just tanked that. Are you kidding me? I guess it is a Swift, but still, really? I guess we'll also look at how Barbara took the lead while we're looking at replays. I suppose I kind of forgot about that somehow. Yeah, Barbara is just sort of tearing her way through the field right now. As she is wont to do, honestly. Oh, a huge run down the hill. Ruby was just absolutely left shell-shocked by that. She was just caught asleep. Or really Barbara was just wide awake. Must have had one of her spicy energy drinks. I don't know how she can drink that stuff. I can barely drink spicy anything. I can't even drink lemonade. That's too tangy for me, let alone a spicy energy drink. I don't get it. Out of all of Barber's machines, the C1 Corvette received the least changes to the design, I would say, only really adding one sponsor and the Urban Estate logo, and that is it. Actually, I think her C7 might have had less updates. Nevertheless, we look back to the sort of mid-pack here, because that's where the action is. 2x2x2x2, running back down the hill. Krasinski is making a better name for himself here. He's up to 8th in this event. He's up to 8th in this event, but that is also where he started, so he's just kind of a net zero at the moment. Even still, this is an improvement over running in 16th in the last race. The dog. Still better than the other Volvo's doing, Umi, despite how ecstatic she was to have a station wagon for whatever reason. Not doing a whole lot with it. I'll hold. Not really a great day to be an idle, former or current. There are a lot of idols in this race, or like people who were or are idols at some point. One of them is leading, and one is third. That is probably scaring the shit out of Ruby Thrasher. Please stop. Just look at that in your mirror. I think even I'd be a little scared, but somebody as delicate and, well, fraidy cat as Ruby is probably gonna need a new, I don't know. Probably gonna need a barf bag or something. Noir was an idol at one point, with a trend. Yo wasn't idle. Ellie, Umi, Rise, Honoka, Yukiko. I don't get it. Thrasher claims it's intentional. It's really not. It's just happenstance that Challenge Series has, like, 20 different drivers who are or were at some point an idol. And like a Japanese pop idol specifically. Barbara, that's a wall. Not that it really mattered in Dan's part. Jake in the Jazz Cup MX-5 is up to 2nd, and Hammerhead / Thrasher has finally taken 3rd away from Ruby, after probably scaring the daylights out of her. And now she has a car from Twisted Metal behind her because, again, I should say, because that's just... Ruby's just going through the motions today, I suppose, but a Camaro's still at least a little less intimidating than a big fucking F-150. Shoji trying to hang on to dear life for 6th place here, but ultimately it looks super close. It's just a lot of people running single file at the moment, kind of like the Monaco Grand Prix. I do like the way that Shoji designed his EG Civic. He tried to make it look something like one of the old LM race cars, or the racing modifications from the old Gran Turismo games. We've had some cars that just straight up are that in the Challenge Series, but this is him actually making his own interpretation on the concept, rather than just straight up a replica. Especially since I remember what the racing modification for this car looked like in GT1 and 2, and I certainly prefer this myself. I have been going for multiple places in the same corner. He will get ahead of Casillas. Can he get ahead of the Civic as well? Possibly. He's going to have to get a run on the outside, and that's hard to do. Or he can just have more horsepower, because he's in a big-ass 300 SEL, and that's a Civic he's passing. And probably not hard. We skip to the final lap of the race, because honestly, not much change between here and then, or then and now. 2 laps of just literally nothing, except for, like, Noir passing Ruby. I think that was actually before that even. Barbara is just gone. There's nothing. Thrasher may have to pass this lap by a couple of tenths, but Barbara's been running those same laps since lap 2, and has never at all wavered. So she's going to head through the final long right-hand corner. Not even hitting an apex. She doesn't need them where she's going, which is to victory lane. Barbara Page, a 2nd victory on the week, coming at the Alsace test track. Jake Scarborough will place 2nd, and Thrasher will come home 3rd for his return to form with the Hammerhead F-150. 3-4 for representatives of Twisted Metal. But no one team really had any strong performance here, mainly because a lot of the drivers in this race aren't actually on one. Also, don't ask how this still works. I guess what it is Tyler's Supra and Charger and Super Bee are not covered by factory support, but he already has them built up anyway, so he doesn't really need the factory support to like make them work. But this is a separate thing that Tyler just refused to let go because he is normally a Dodge guy. As much as he likes Chevys, he will not be parted from his Chargers. So there you have that. A man has to have his priorities. Friday, which is the site of the final race for episode 122. I hope it's 122 and I'm not just being an idiot and forgetting we're on 123. That's a very distinct possibility. Regardless, brings us to the Circuit de la Sarthe for not a roulette race, actually, a 750 class race. So we'll have the same cars winning, it's just that the other, 16 are also going to be in the same class. Also a track we don't go to too often. We go to it more than the others in this episode, but our ability to use this track is pretty limited just based off of A, it's technically a road course, on public roads, and B, Le Mans' main event clause, where filler races, so to speak, are not meant to be used, or not, they don't... No losers allowed. If you're going to run here, it's got to be a big deal. It's either got to be, the fastest cars, or the highest stakes, or some sort of championship run, or championship event. Even as we get into, late June here in Universe, and also early June in real life. And the 24 Hours of Le Mans is not too far away, so they're also thinking that this could maybe generate a little bit of excitement to get at least some race cars on the track, even if it's not the normal ones and not for 24 hours. And we are away for the, 3 laps of Le Mans, not quite 24 hours, only 12 minutes. Victoria Noir is our POV driver, a driver who I think has started in every race this week. I do believe she has done. No, she wouldn't have been in the 640 class race. Other than that, though, I think she has appeared in the other 4. No, actually, no, I'm lying. The last 3 of the week, Wednesday, Thursday, and now Friday. And Machine or Teammate, too wide, going up the little S's here. This corner has a name. I don't know what it is. I just know that this is Tetra Rouge. I don't actually know what that means. I think it's Red Ridge or something. Not positive on that, though. The Le Mans Legends, as much street cred as they might have, they don't really have much of a shot here, I'll be the first to admit. Considering even the back end of the cars in this race are doing 220 down towards the first chicane, 180 is just not going to cut it, Juan. The first thing to note, Nico in her MR2, now that she is back on Mercury Racing, the Valvoline branding returns to her MR2. It was just plain pink when she was racing in NFR, but now the livery is put back together, essentially. Noir's already up to 3rd place. Also a bit of a lover's quarrel on her inside. Former lovers, anyway. Darika Zoya, who can now be represented by her proper home country of India, as there's been an update for the leaderboards in the game, breaking the 4th wall. They've added new nationality options to AI drivers. I don't know why it took them this long to have India as an option. And there are a few others like this that can be now selected. Oh, it's actually going to be Nozomi giving Zoya a bumper. I thought it would have been her ex, Kawakuta, who's running a redesigned PTR. It used to be black and red, but he decided, or no, actually it used to be black and red. He's changed the number, and he's got a couple more sponsors on the car. Uni kind of match, but despite being GTR and them being known for being really powerful machines, paling in comparison to the American muscle around it, and also an MC20. Barber making her, I believe, 4th start of the week, and looking for maybe a 3rd win, if that's possible. Though running back here in 13th, that doesn't seem too likely. Noir in pursuit of Milo, who has not made many starts in the last few months as a whole. Not really sure why. I think they just only really like driving this Aventador, not much else at this point. God knows they can't do anything with that weak-ass Abarth. He might be looking for a Mini in the near future. I said she because of Noir coming up behind him. And my brain was like, oh, she is doing something. Wait, which she? I don't know. Not that one. Noir forcing Milo off his line, meaning that he has to let off. And Noir will just kind of use space to her advantage to get into 2nd, and her former associate, as a plethora of drivers have to immediately hit the pits, including, that was a noise, including her own teammate and sister Uni. Noir's former associate, Nico, before she rejoined Mercury after the relationship between her and, well, specifically Ellie was patched up, but the negativity between them dragged the whole damn team down. Believe me, I would know. I was there. I was there when it fell apart, and I was there when it got put back together. I think you could write a Tool song about that. I know the pieces fit because I watched them fall apart. Doesn't mean I don't desire to... Wow. Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense. That was literally what a schism is, isn't it? A lack of communication causing something to fall apart. What is falling apart, too, is Nico's hold on the race lead, as Noir is going to out-drag the engine-swapped MR2. If you apply the brakes properly... Possibly not. Nico's gonna send it and get back ahead of the Viper. Noir's former teammate not letting go of the lead that easily. I know they're not exactly on bad terms, but there's still a level of competitiveness between the two of, see I don't need you versus see what you're missing, you know. Obviously that's always going to be a little bit of competition. Changing lanes, a pair of them. Switch places! A bit wide at the 2nd chicane for the Viper. I know that this thing is incredibly awkward on corner exits. I would know. I drive Vipers plenty. So, Noir is having to be a little cautious of that at corners like the Mulsanne chicanes and the Mulsanne corner, I mean, coming up ahead. Where in the hell did Kotori come from? Where did she get to 4th? How did this transpire? Barbara is coming up to 7th as well. Kotori is attempting to chase down the 2 leaders to give her teammate some backup. And then Milo is just kind of here, right in the middle of everything. About to get consumed by that MC20. 224 braking for, I believe they call this Indianapolis, or is that the corner after it? Even giving Milo a bit of a tap, no damage to either machine at least, so it doesn't matter too much. And you can see how on the telemetry there, Noir is super cautious getting on the throttle out of these slow corners. Arnage are also a problem zone for that Viper. Too much power sometimes for its own good. Again, trust me, I know. I may not drive her Viper, but I have driven plenty of Vipers. Not just here either. And I feel like my influence is half the reason why Noir drives the Viper. Same for her sister, although they drive different years, which is curious to me. Neither of them actually drive the model I drive in the Challenge Series, but they're pretty similar in terms of behavior. So most of what you can... Excuse me. You can hear my voice starting to die here. Most of what you can... oh, God, hang on. Most of what you can ascertain from the behaviors of a 2002 Viper, you can still apply to the SRT-10 and the SRT Viper. It's a little redundant, I know. You know, the 2006 and 2013 Vipers, that is. And probably the original RT-10 if that were around, but those are a little difficult to find, we'll say. At least Bliffy says we're having a problem finding them. Or did I say that out loud? Who am I kidding? They haven't been culturally relevant outside of Hot Wheels casting since 1999. GT2 is the last time I saw any RT-10 Viper in a video game. The top 5 are now very close. I don't know how Jean got back ahead of KOTORI, but seeing the top speed this thing has, I don't think that's going to last. Viper, Lamborghini, Corvette, Maserati, and then an MR2. One of these things kind of sticks out a little, I would say. Yeah, straight line advantage. 227. Oh, what the heck? Wastegate there. 235 in the braking zone, and slipstream kicked in late or something. Milo's gonna go for second on Nico. At the exit of the chicane, four-wheel drive paying off massively there. That will get the Lambo back into second place. And the Maserati approaches rapidly. Gonna outdrag the engine-swapped MR2 or die trying. Milo's right on the bumper of Noir, but I don't think Milo is the one that Noir is the one has to look out for. Down the inside, KOTORI just got a 2-for-1 special, didn't she? Oh my god, she did. How in the world did she get that stopped? I guess the MC20 is pretty light. I thought the MR2 was lighter, but I guess that didn't help Nico too much. And just as I spoke it into being, it is now KOTORI looking to outdrag that 2013 Viper down towards Mulsanne corner. Outdragging didn't work. Maybe outbraking will. I guess we'll see. Yep. She will outbrake her. I don't know how she got that stop, but she did. Another new leader on the board. KOTORI Minami's Maserati has risen from nowhere. I believe she started 18th in the race. And she's half a lap away from taking victory away from Noir, who started last. 228 towards the right-hander. She got a stop, she held her line. Makes Indianapolis. KOTORI is not done, though. Two abreast on the exit. Another Le Mans war, basically. We've seen this a few times. Oh, big snap oversteer from KOTORI. That's going to hurt her exit. That's not what you need, as this is the final straightaway of the track, essentially. Even still, she still has better momentum heading down towards the S's. Noir thought about getting creative on the brakes. She has to not do that. Did she get creative on exit? No. Switching sides, trying to apply pressure, trying to find a lane, a way around the MC20. Oh, that was really wide for KOTORI. I think the pressure might be getting to her a little bit. Oh, it is! She understeered and she clipped the inside curb there. And that pushed, she had to let off to not drive off the track. Noir just has to make chicanes. And she has made them well enough. Noir is going to barely reclaim the lead. And victory from Le Mans. Something a Viper hasn't done since like 2002. KOTORI is still 18th to 2nd, and only lost because she clipped a curb. Milo 3rd, not too bad considering how rarely he shows up to the Challenge Series races nowadays. Might be a bit of oversaturation too, who knows. There are nearly 300 people registered on our itineraries now at this point. Barbara could not get anywhere near a 3rd victory, but 4 races, 1st, 6th, 1st, 7th. She shows up often and she shows up well. Especially since, you know, at a track like Le Mans, you're always going to be heavily favoring straight line speed, and while I'm sure the Corvette is no slouch, clearly nothing in comparison to the MC-20 or this Viper that Noir just took to the checkered flag.